the way I look at it, I mean, if the only thing that you can find good about yourself is your skin color, then you're not doing very well. Seriously.
Find Richard.
Richard? Who's Richard?
I mean, everything's geometry, really. So it's like that's why they used to pray to their water and stuff to change the the geometry and.
I sort of agree with that, but the thing is, I think that maybe where we got it wrong, where we've been misled, or where we've been captured somehow, is in the geometry, because nothing in nature is symmetrical.
No, yeah.
That's the whole point of the Fibonacci and the Mandelbrot. Nothing is symmetrical, and what we've done is we've made it symmetrical. We've made everything symmetrical through geometry.
Yeah, okay. So straight lines and corners is pretty much, apart from the circle, what makes up geometry, isn't it?
And if we think what they're doing is, I mean, they're projecting themselves, but they're trying to copy. So they're going like, they're like a mirror image.
Yeah, well, like the Fibonacci. I mean, not pi. Yeah, pi is six. That's the 6.6.
3.14.
Fibonacci is 3, and then there's phi and pi. So
yeah,
pi is almost double. Pi is 6.6 to 6.10. There's like the beauty rate, the golden ratio, the beauty ratio.
The golden ratio, yeah, that's phi.
Yeah,
Phi is the golden ratio. Pi is the circle.
Yeah, when they do all the different measurements and stuff. But that's what they do with the buildings and geometry. They turn that into rectangles, which is interesting because
and it reflects right down. It goes right down into, I mean, it's in everything that we, even into our credit cards, and it's all
right.
I don't know if this is golden. This is Fibonacci. It's they've captured us. I feel like that's how they've trapped us. They've trapped us in a prism.
Prism. A prison.
Yeah.
A prison.
Where it's all reflecting inside here, isn't it? It's not.
Okay.
Nothing new from us. There's nothing new from us, really. It's kind of we're bouncing around inside, man. We're not actually growing as people. We've got locked down, so we're not able to develop anymore. If you look at the architecture and everything that was done, however long ago it was in the ancient world, if you look at, I was looking at that wooden Nickles. He did a thing, I think it was called Transcendence. Did a video called Transcendence, where he was looking at all these Indian temples. There's like over 100,000 Indian temples or something in India. He's looking at all these temples and all of the geometry within the temples, whether it's hidden doorways, that was it, false doorways he was looking at in these temples. And they're all, I should have got, didn't even think about it, but I should have got one up. It's got the doorway, which is a false doorway, and then the walls and everything, all the patterns, the mandala and everything that's painted on each, on each cube. When you look at it, it looks like a psychedelic trip.
And I truly wonder if this served a purpose, and a very sci-fi purpose. Because I would imagine that if you were ever to enter into another dimension, this is probably the kind of stuff you would see before you did it. This would be an active doorway if this thing was turned on. And these are the mechanics to it. It's a false doorway now.
It looks like an actual. I've been on a trip that's not been far off, you know, but I can see, and you look at it and you think, wow, if I was tripping, man, that would be a doorway you'd go through somewhere.
Yeah. I was just going to say, that's what they see. What's it called? Not peyote. You know, the South American, the root. What do they drink?
The ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca, yeah.
The DMT. Yeah. They see the geometric patterns everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And they literally say they go into a different realm and talk to these dragon people. So it's interesting that psychedelics and doors and doorways and the whole geometry. I mean, that all goes back really to the box, doesn't it? I mean, that's what we talk about. That's the vernacular, is we're in a box, and get outside the box and look outside the box, and the box,
think outside the box. Yeah.
The square.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. Humans seem to do better in nature. You know, I remember I saw this video probably 2 years ago, and the guy was walking around looking at these mud flutters, and he just kind of said, you know, I feel better in nature than living in buildings. And I thought, you know, that's so true. So it's like you say, was this even us, or was this created by someone else? Is this like a distortion, all these buildings?
It's weird, because when I was younger, I grew up in the country. Grew up in this little village, tiny little village near Basingstoke, near where I was born. So it was all, we had the huge common land, woods, lakes, you know, everything for a kid, everything a kid needed. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. As I got older, and then, you know, went to university later. Well, my friends went to university before I did. I didn't go until I was like 21, 22, but they all went off to university after school. And so I'd go and visit them. And Bristol, I went to Bristol a few times, and it's not like London, but it's a city. And compared to where I'd grown up, it was absolutely a city. I couldn't stand it. And like going to London, going and spending a day in London, I liked it. The excitement of London was really nice, but I could not stay there for more than a day or two, because the energy and everything, and just the complete soulless nature of it, just all these buildings everywhere, you can't really see the sky unless you're looking right up, you know, cars, car fumes, tarmac, concrete, metal everywhere, and yeah, it's soulless. That's the trouble. That's what's wrong with it. If you're walking around Angkor Wat or somewhere like that, where the architecture itself is absolutely amazing, or you know, these Indian temples. There are things to look at. It's beautiful. They're wonderful, wonderful achievements of human design and ingenuity and intelligence, man. I mean, some of these doorways, they've got all, I can't explain it. It's all geometric patterns built out. You know, it's not painted. They've actually built it into it. So it incorporates the actual geometry in the brickwork, and also in the painting as well. So I'll have a quick dig for that. I'll see if I can dig that out.
And those types of structures as well seem to be tied in with the sort of natural energy. So no doubt, that it would have felt good to walk around there. But again, like, whether they don't, especially the temple, what we call temples, they're not houses, are they? They're a completely different kind of thing to the mud flooded buildings and all that. Because apart from the fact that all the buildings are too big for us.
God. Look at the doorways, man.
It's not like we built them
30 feet high or something. It's ridiculous. I really love looking at these the videos of the world fairs and stuff that they've had in America. The buildings that they say, they were put up temporarily, and all the capital state buildings and everything. I cannot understand why people can't think back logically, right? Think back to that time, think about the reports and everything that we've been told about that time, the 1800s, 1800s, everything that we know about it. Okay, so horse and cart, the petrol engine wasn't invented yet. So steam, they were working with steam, but they didn't have
mainly.
Yeah.
Massive infrastructure for steam, massive infrastructure.
So how, apart from where did they source the materials for, like in what is it? Is it Utah? The Salt Lake City? They built two temples there, within 30 years of arriving there, a couple of hundred. They built this huge temple that's just insane. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. But why? Why would they need to build a temple that big for 300 people? And how did they do it? How did they get the rocks there? Where did the rocks come from? How did they quarry them? How did they transport them? And then how did they lift them?
Yeah, and why did they build it 15 foot underground?
Oh, God.
You see, we've got the excavation photos.
We want to build this huge building, but it's just going to be a little bit too high. I know. Let's build 20 feet into the ground. Yes, we can make it 20 feet higher, but then it might not touch the roof.
Yeah, let's build a doorway and some windows in that bottom thing, and then cover it up.
Yeah.
That's
where
the interesting thing about that is that they're doing a massive renovation of that temple at the moment, and it's all underground. Yeah. Like there's these pictures, and you see the temple. I think they're refurbing the temple, but they're doing like extensions, and it's basically like 2 levels underground. So you got to wonder, are they just digging stuff out still?
Do you know? I think I heard something about that, and I think was it there where they said actually we're not sure how deep it's going. They've only got to two levels.
Oh,
but
yeah,
it goes deeper.
I think that was on John Levi's video when he was talking. Yeah, it was definitely in Utah. I'm not sure what the building was, but yeah.
They were saying they've not got to the bottom yet. They don't know exactly what's there.
I haven't got to the bottom of it. Isn't it interesting, all these sayings, how it all just sort of fits in? They haven't got to the bottom of it. This is how they play the game, isn't it? I mean, clearly, that those who want to, be the rulers at the moment aren't the original, bloodline rulers. So they're not so, as long as their little bloodline sort of rules, they don't really care if you're gentry or not. They care if you're going to toe the line, if they can control you. If they can't control you and you're going to sort of make trouble, like they don't want you around. It's like no, you go away.
If you're not one of the real bloodlines, like okay, I'm part of a bloodline that was deeply connected, but it's not one of the banking families. It's not it's not one of the 13 bloodlines. It's it is all about bloodlines and heritage, though, isn't it? It's all about your
ultimately, and what you'll do for them. I mean, that's what Babylon is, isn't it? Really, it's their system, and it's like it's all offers and acceptance. It's like, well, we'll offer you, you know, a housing loan. All you've got to do is pay interest for the next 30 years. You know, all these stupid things. Like, we'll offer you this, and that's what everyone's starting to figure out, because it's all just lies, and you can actually not accept all these offers and go, well, you know, society's kind of crap, because look at, and this is what we sort of wanted to get into, look at what's going on now with what they're offering. And most people are accepting it, because this is the thing. You know, this whole wearing a thing on your face, that's an offer. And it only works if everyone accepts it. And so all these people walking around accepting it, they just,
How frustrating? I mean, how crazy does it make? It makes me crazy. It makes me feel. It actually, like, something happens inside me. I have to really go away or something, because when I see particularly young men, fit young men, you know, with their wife beaters on, and they've just been in the gym, and they've got all their muscles out, and they're big and tough, and they're going off to do their Krav Maga, yeah, shitting themselves about this. Sorry, my language. Yeah, they're scared, and the thing is, I want to say to them, I want to confront every single one of them and say, is it the police or is it the virus? And if they say it's the police, I'll say, okay, no worries, mate. I understand the police and militant are absolute idiots. They have been hitting people for not wearing their masks with their truncheons. They've been, you know, anybody that backchats them or anything, they get nasty. And there's nothing you can do. You can't film them or anything, because it's illegal to film them. I've got I put that footage up the other day. The guy had shared local police in Spain. They were arresting, I think it looked like an immigrant, but they were being really rough with him, and they were being filmed by another couple, and they just went and beat the crap out of the couple. Their phones, beat the crap out of them, and then ultimately obviously arrested them as well. I personally walk around with a mask under my chin when I'm outside, because if I want to go in any shop or anywhere, I have to wear it, otherwise they won't let you in. And if there are any police or anything pass, pop it up quickly, because there's not enough people here. Everybody is complying. Everybody. Even me, who's saying no. The trouble is, there's 1,000 other me's here that are all sitting here waiting for somebody else to make the first move and say, because we're all sat here going, look, I would, man, but if it's just me, what's the point? I'm going to just get swallowed and nobody's going to hear about it. I'll get swallowed up into the system. Nobody will hear about it. Nobody will know. It's not going to go out worldwide. No arms are going to get thrown in the air over it. So am I going to sacrifice myself for nothing? No. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to go and throw myself under the bus to just get forgotten and lost. I'll do what needs to be done right now until. Well,
this is
some sort of
thing.
Change.
I mean, and it comes back to we need groups, and there are apps being made. I'm not sure if they're out at the moment. Earth United are doing one, which is based on where you are. So, like, it literally just puts you in contact with other people in your area. So you can form groups. Because I saw this video the other day. It was in America, and there was about 20 people, and they all unmasked, and they all went in in a group into a supermarket, and people were freaking out. Like, people were turning around and seeing someone without a mask and literally jumping and running away and stuff. It was just unbelievable. And they just walked in, and they were just walking around, just looking at the stuff on the shelves, and this
pandemonium.
Oh, it was pandemonium. It was unbelievable. And yeah, these unmasked people weren't actually doing anything but just walking through, and holy crap. So yeah, but this is the thing is, are people scared of the virus? Because, this happens, but they sort of jump back, but they just stand there and look. And then there's always a couple, who stand up and get close to them and start pushing them around and stuff. And it's like, well, you're not scared of the virus, or either that, or you don't understand what it is, or what they're trying to tell you it is, or you're just retarded. There's something going on in your brain that's not making the right connections.
I think a lot of it is misplaced anger, because they want to be, they don't want to be.
Oh.
They're complete sheep. They cower, and they've got no spine, basically. And when they see people that have it, that have got some spine, they've got some balls, and they're walking around and saying no, they're so terrified of the authorities, they're going to jump on the authorities' side, because they're going to jump on the team that they think is going to win.
Yeah, well, that is right. I mean, and it could. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, compliant cowards, definitely. And I mean, it could also be, these people may actually believe that this is going to stop. If you know what I mean, they might actually think that there's a date where the governments and that'll say,
2 weeks.
Oh, we've beaten.
2 weeks. Excuse me? 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
So no more masks. It's all gone back to normal. And so if they believe that, and they see us walking around so-called, breaking the rules, they might see us as, oh my God, they're keeping us in lockdown and they're keeping this going.
Yeah.
When in reality, we know this ain't stopping unless we stand up and stop it.
And that's what happened. That's why that's why they locked us down a second time, because people weren't wearing masks and they weren't social distancing, blah, 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 blah. I think it's really interesting when you have a conversation with somebody who's terrified about this thing, and it's been a year now, and you cast their mind back to 3 years ago, when they got that really bad flu. Do you remember when you were sick for like 3 weeks, man? You thought you were going to die. Yeah. That was it. You had it back then. You've had it before, countless times, right? Yes, there might be this one particular version of it that's going around, that has come straight out of a laboratory that was doctored. It's linked to, but they've done a really, it's smart for them. It's clever what they've done by basically reintroducing the original name for it. I'm not going to say the name. We all know what it is. Common name for a common thing that happened all the time. Every year we'd all get it, a couple of times probably. And it's all about names. It's all about, so that particular name is new. And I've not heard that name before, man. That sounds, and it's got that other Cyrus word at the end as well. Man, but no, nobody had heard it because they'd always been heard it called this other common name. And this is what I was, because what we're supposed to be talking about is perception, isn't it? That's what we were going to talk about, is perception.
Yeah.
So it's all about the perception of the narrative attached to the name.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. So with this particular thing, if they just called it the original name that everybody knew it as, then everybody would be like, oh yeah, but it's just the common, you know, what? And there might be a more virulent strain of it, you know, well, yeah, but that's just influenza, isn't it? Or more virulent strain of influenza might be called pneumonia. Wow. So, and I don't understand why people don't actually look into things that they don't understand. If they don't understand it and they're not getting answers for anywhere, they just go, oh, and they don't look into it and try and find out about, you know, what's going on. So mutations of these things, when they mutate, it's commonly known by every medical professional everywhere that when they mutate into something that's less than what it was, not more. Because if it goes into more than what it was, it's just going to destroy the host every time, and that doesn't want that. It wants to continue. It wants to live on. So if it mutates, it will always mutate into something maybe more virulent, but less deadly, more contagious, easier to pass on to everybody, so everybody gets it, but it's just going to sit there. It's not actually, you're going to get some symptoms, you're going to feel crappy, you know, you're going to get snotty nose and a headaches and maybe you'll get a fever and whatever, but the chance of it actually killing you is going to be minuscule because it wants to survive. It doesn't want to die. It's not an idiot. That's the same. It's the same with the parasites that are controlling us. They want to, like, the stupid ones want to kill us, but the smart ones at the top know that they need us. Without us, they're nothing. They don't exist. They can't create. Without us, there's no new ideas. There's nothing. It would just go stagnant. The realm would become stagnant. They'd eat each other, and it would just collapse.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all belief, isn't it? And you know, like it's a mind. You know, they're mind parasites, aren't they? Because there's something going on here. Because you know, I'm pretty sure the average person knows what a pandemic is. They might not know the actual dictionary term, but they know what a pandemic is, right? And in a pandemic, it's like you're talking big percentages of populations becoming deceased.
You know, they changed the definition of a pandemic.
God, doesn't surprise me, did they? What is it? What is it now? Is it when 0.001% of the population?
I think it was basically it moved from death rates to infection rates.
Oh, God.
I think that's how they changed the classification of a pandemic.
But I mean, and that should ring alarm bells for anyone who comes across that, shouldn't it? Because I mean, everyone's still learnt what it meant in school. I mean, you know, apart from, you know, little kids, you know, but. And they see the dancing TikTok nurses, but they still believe there's something going on. It's like, well, you know, you like, I don't know, we got taught about like the Black Death and all this kind of stuff in school. And, you know, it's like the Monty Python skit, you know, bring out your dead.
Bring out your dead.
Literally, you know, people were dying daily and they just had so many bodies that they needed to get rid of them.
Or at least that's what we've been told.
Well, at least that's what we've been told, yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Looking back, the whole, you know, V sort of thing is a bit of a
think about this, right?
Really.
Think about how long bones last. How long the bones last in the dirt. You know, when we bury a corpse, how long will the bones stay there for? Well, we're finding bones of skeletons that they're staying thousands of years old. So we can safely say thousands of years. How many people have died in the last 4,000 years?
Yeah. Oh God.
Where are the
Whose
skeletons?
timeline? I mean, obviously billions and billions, but yeah.
So where are the skeletons?
That's a good question. I mean, even the catacombs under France. I mean, what do they say? They've got a couple of 100,000, I think, down there.
Ah, a
But
million. They've got a couple of million.
couple
They've got
of million,
million.
is it?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of million,
And
and it's all meant
that's
to
for,
be after the Spanish flu, isn't it, or something? Or
yeah,
the
it's
Black
to do with
Death.
something. But I saw someone did the figures, and it was just so far off what was, the populations were supposed to be. I mean, that's a good question. And if that, yeah, I mean, not that they ever would, but you should be able to go back and even check those bones to see what they died from, really, if they did have the Spanish,
I mean, the thing is, this.
or whatever
So
it was.
The first time I thought about this was, I love watching the documentaries about all of the battles, the famous battles, and I've worked my way through all of the Middle Ages, all of the famous battles in the Middle Ages, and some of those battles we're talking about the figures that they're giving. There are thousands and thousands of bodies, thousands of people have been killed, and then they go in there with their Tony Robinson and Time team, and Tony, they go and dig around. Oh, no.
Is that Blackadder?
We think, yeah, Tony
Baldrick.
Robinson's Baldrick, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, we dug this trench here, and we found an absolute cache of skeletons. There's at least 20 here. 2,500 people died on this field, and we found 20 of them.
Okay.
None of their figures for anything, when you scrutinize them, none of their figures for anything add up. Nothing apart from when you go to you say, okay, well, maths, yeah, numbers add up. But the figures that they're giving in all of their official narratives for absolutely everything, right down from dates and populations and all of that, right through to money, right through to the shape of the earth and its parameters, every single figure that they're giving, nothing adds up. Nothing.
This is the thing. How imposed is all this stuff? Because it's this common theme of they love to try and tell us that we're violent little creatures who hate each other. We hate the earth. We're trying to kill it. Where they try, and this is the thing, they try and reverse everything. They're just the gaslighters is what they are. They try and tell us that we're the parasites.
They're projecting everything about themselves. Basically, they're saying, you are us, and we need to protect ourselves from you because you are us, and we are fucking dangerous, basically.
Yeah, so, oh God, what's going on in their bloody psyches? But and we're seeing this as well. Just it's in the mainstream news now with all this SJW stuff. It's like clearly one side of the ones who have prejudices, shall we say, and they just try and project it onto everyone else and say, no, that's what you do. And it's. I mean, when I saw this clip of this white girl, just a white girl with a BLM shirt on, standing yelling at a black man about why he was wrong and because he was on the wrong side of the line. And this guy walked up with a microphone and he just said to her, he said, do you understand, what you're doing here? Like, do you understand what you're a white man, a white girl yelling at a black man about BLM, and she just turned around and went, well, he needs to do this, he needs to do that.
Why? Is he racist if he doesn't? Is he racist towards his own people if he doesn't do this?
Yeah, because she decides what's racist or not. Excuse me.
Right. Racism is a really. I always hated people that had any problem with skin color. When I was younger, I used to get in fights at school and stuff. We had one Indian kid in my private school, just this one Indian kid, and he used to get bullied, and I used to get bullied at private school really badly, but you know, it was. I wanted to be able to stand up to the people that were bullying him more than the ones that were bullying me, because he was the only Indian kid in the school, man. Imagine being the only,
yeah, I
know, the one kid that's just a completely different color to everybody else. And so I always had a problem with it. And then as I got older, I moved to an area where that particular race of people have grown. There's huge animosity towards white people and towards the country and towards the government. And they openly, basically, walk around saying, fuck you, and screw your country and screw everything, screw England. And that made me feel really bad towards those people, right? And then when you go out and you hear that accent, it's it's actually not an Indian accent, it's an English Indian. It's the wide boy, the street talk, the way they, the way they will talk like real, and when you that's actually more of a different race, but okay. When you hear it, it's your back goes up and you're like, wow, because when everybody that you've met up until that point has had this particular attitude, then it's hard not to tar everybody else with that same brush. So I can see how it happens.
Exactly. It's just,
but that's actually got nothing to do with skin color. That's culture. It's just culture's associated with the skin color.
The way I look at it, I mean, if the only thing that you can find good about yourself is your skin color, then you're not doing very well. Seriously, I mean, it might be time to give up. Man. I mean, that's really the way I look at it. So when I see, people that are prejudiced and that against race, I mean, that's what I think. You just, you poor, decrepit, retarded, low vibrational. It just doesn't matter. I don't get it. It's completely taught, but it's like you say, this is a division. They bring in, they do things like that on purpose. They'll bring in 10 sort of families that are well-to-do and throw them in a different culture, and then they all get, shunned. And then as it grows, they're like, oh, these people suck, and there's your division. They don't, And this is the thing, all we need to do is wake up to the fact that it's all just a story that's been projected on us. That's all it is. Yeah. And like I said, it's them projecting them onto us. And people have got to wake up and become human again.